I'm Sir Tap Tap, and welcome to Let's Play Bullet Heaven 2. This game is currently in beta. I was given access to the beta and to the paid expansion pack by the developer. This game there'll be a free version on Congregate with the paid expansion pack, as said, and there's also going to be a Steam version. Parker. Okay, let's get this into the window. Oh, controller, you died on me. This game has controller support. I didn't actually know that was possible with Flash games. That was actually one of my biggest complaints about Flash games. I miss cloud saves and controller support, and I guess the controller support is sorted out. So, this game is a very accessible bullet hell style game that has a ton of difficulty, well, not a ton of difficulty options, but it has an easy mode. Well, it's called normal mode, but it's basically easy. And in the item shop, you can also buy a whole ton of cheats. Like, you can make it so that enemies drop hearts, you can get some screen clearing items, slow down bullets. You can even be invincible. That costs a buttload of money, but you can do it. So you can see pretty much any content in the game by, going through these cheats, and of course that decreases your score, sometimes pretty ridiculously. Like this one makes your score negative, I guess. There's a lot of accessibility features. We'll go over some more of them. But there's also, you can also buy with your money different characters, weapons. I believe the only paid content is these three characters here. You can also buy handicaps that make the game harder and increase your score a bit. For the purposes of the Let's Play, I am just gonna play it on normal, or not on normal, on Heavenly, which is, hard mode, extreme hard mode. There's normal, there's hard, there's Heavenly. So we're gonna play with no handicaps, but we're gonna play it on difficult. Mouse cursor, you can go away now. So you can play this with a mouse, keyboard, or controller. You can also play multiplayer. I won't skip the dialogue too fast here. So there's little tiny skits at the beginning of each level. Parker, would you please get over here? Just, yeah, right there. Poor gnats. So for most levels, Anna, I think, is my current favorite, because she has this auto-aiming skill, and her sub-weapon is pretty good. Parker. The most difficult cat to dodge is my own cat, Parker. So, Parker, calm down. He's rubbing the controller with his face. So Anna has this homing shot, and you can charge your normal attack just by not shooting it. I'm not entirely sure if the DPS is stronger if you wait or if you just, hold it down. I think it's a little bit stronger if you wait, but not really worth it to, it didn't seem worth it anyway. Parker, seriously. One thing I like about Anna is this attack that she has. As long as you clear waves quickly enough, you pretty much don't have to worry about the sub-weapon running out. So what these diamonds are is when you clear a wave perfectly, a diamond will drop, and that multiplies your score, also based on how high the difficulty is. And it also refills your main and sub-weapon. So in Anna's case, that pretty much lets you constantly use this first sub-weapon here. Not the case with most other characters. They'll off. Parker, would you please get down? Yeah, one thing I really like about Anna is that since she auto-aims, you can pretty much focus on dodging. As you can see there, since I got hit, when I got that perfect wave, it actually gave me a heart instead of a diamond. So one of the accessibility features, damn it, seriously, Parker, get down. One of the accessibility features, oh my god, you're back, stop it. That was definitely Parker's fault. Okay, so one of the ways the game makes it a little bit easier on you is, you're not gonna get down. Would you at least lay down if you're gonna do this? Just lay down and everything will be fine. Is if you've taken damage, on a perfect wave you'll get a heart instead of a diamond, and that lets the game be forgiving and let you, beat the level. Parker, Don't step in front of the mic. Lets you beat the level, but it won't give you the highest possible score. We somehow managed to get 2 stars, which is actually a very good rank, but we could have gotten a much higher score, and I think my high score is probably higher than that. I hope it was higher than that, because a certain cat got me killed several times. I wonder who that could be. I'm sure he is an orange and sitting on my desk right now looking at me like he's completely innocent. Yeah, so one of the things the game does is there's a few ways the game makes it easier on you if you actually take a hit. Once you've taken damage, the bullets slow down a little bit, and that helps you get another perfect wave. And so at that perfect wave, you get a good instead of a perfect, and it gives you a heart. And then, you know, you can be back to full health. And so as long as you don't take too many hits, like consecutively, like in consecutive waves, you know, you'll be in pretty good shape. But your score won't be the best. So if you want the absolute best score, you still gotta, you know, have a 1 credit clear, you know. 0 deaths, actually, not just 1 credit. And an interesting thing about the way this game works is that it is actually, damn it, not super tolerant of bomb uses. So the game actually won't consider a, hold on. The game will not actually consider, fuck, that was the bomb, not the sub-weapon. I've done that a few times. If you use a bomb, it is not considered a perfect wave. So if you want perfect score, you can't use bombs at all. And there's a few other interesting features of bombs. One, as you might have noticed, I actually used a counter bomb in which Parker, damn it, bumping against my hand. If you get hit, there's a tiny window where time slows and you can mash the bomb button and you will wipe the screen of bullets and lose the bomb instead of the health. So I promise I did better in practice because Parker wasn't bothering me. He knows when I'm talking, so he just comes up and wants to sit, and he doesn't realize that's very disruptive. So counter bombs, I really like the idea of counter bombs. I'm kind of surprised I've never seen a game do that before, because I've mentioned before, I have this reflex to, you know, even after I take the hit, I still want to press that bomb button, and this game actually rewards you, unlike most games. One of the cheats is actually auto bomb, which is a pretty common accessibility feature in these games. I really like that. Oh, speaking of accessibility, damn it. During the boss, we're probably going to see some fairly rapidly flashing lights on one of the bosses. I guess all of the enemies do it to some extent, but with the boss, it can be a little annoying, so I'll warn you again before the boss, but that may not be fit for Panic Bomb. May not be fit for photosensitive people. Oops. One interesting thing about these options, sort of, sub-weapons is they can actually be damaged by shots, and so that actually makes this skill a little less useful, actually a lot less useful, against certain bosses, because it'll just get destroyed in some of the more intense waves. Yeah, I really like, it's sort of interesting that bombs sort of count against you, but because the game is based on these fairly short levels, I guess it can be seen that allowing you to use bombs and, you know, keep your score would sort of let you just bomb your way through. Like, I'm in the bonus round now. I could just spam bombs, to just clear it out really easy. And that would be a little bit cheap, so it kind of makes sense that, you know, you keep bombs in this game. They're basically an extension of your health that require a bit of skill to use. So it's pretty much never in your interest to bomb unless you're actually going to get hit. Even then, if you're actually after the best score, you kind of just want to reset if you have to use a bomb. The one side effect is that none of the waves seem designed to force you to use a bomb. And as you can see, there are medals which give you some extra cash for the shop and just function as basic achievements. There are a couple multiplayer achievements just requiring a minimum of 2 people. Some people are never happy to see multiplayer achievements. Oops. There, I bombed. You know what? We're gonna restart. I bombed instead of using the sub weapon again. What are you looking at, Parker? So I'll probably, for the Let's Play, I'll probably do one world at a time, because I want to be able to show off a world properly. I'm honestly already embarrassed at this video, but that's all Parker's fault. I'll see if I can corral him better next time. I've gotten no lower than a star. That's probably going to change at the boss. I'm not very good at the boss, honestly. I think the best I've gotten on the boss is on Heavenly Difficulty. Parker is... Parker. A B rank, which is kind of bad. Yeah. Like I said before, this is the hardest difficulty. So if this looks too much to you, there is a much easier difficulty. I just don't really like. It's very simple, and some of the boss patterns are still a little bit bullet helly, but it's very well designed for, you know, being a very accessible bullet hell. I would say, if you're new to the genre and you're interested in shoot 'em ups or bullet hell games, give this a shot, because, you know, free, so accessible in that way as well, but also lots of features to make this very welcoming and very open to people who aren't usually into this sort of game, and you can sort of ease yourself in with all those accessibility features. Like, you can go from being crazy, ridiculously easy with a whole bunch of cheat codes on, and then, you know, gradually go up in difficulty levels, up in handicaps, until the game's basically impossible with, like, max difficulties, or max... Parker! Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of yourself? I think he's proud of himself. Also, it does a little 3, 2, 1 countdown. Get your tail out of the screen. When you, Parker! Stop that. He just whipped me in the face with his tail. I just don't know what to say. Damn it. Whatever. At least we screwed up all towards the end, so we should have a pretty decent score there. There's not really a story so much as there's, you know, just little skits at the beginning and end of each level. Also, these hints it gives you are really nice. It sort of eases you into the mechanics, and so, like, now it's telling us about our slow movement. I think earlier it told us about our single pixel hitbox. And it also tells you, like, for a while I wasn't using slow very often. It'll actually pop up and say, hey, I noticed you're not really using slow. You can use that to avoid better. And in these last few levels, I haven't really needed much slow. But against the bosses, it's really important. It can also be really important when you have a cat obscuring part of the screen. Speaking of cats, Parker did not like this boss when I was playing without headphones. Parker, you are obscuring the part of the screen I'm trying to be in. This is where a face cam might be helpful, because I'm leaning over my frickin' cat so I can see where I am. Also, one thing I really like is there's little... I guess you can't see it on the bosses, but I actually meant to fight this boss as Matt. Damn it. I'm not very good at this boss with... well, her skill just isn't very useful in this boss, because they can get destroyed, the little options. But, oh well. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. There's a little indicator at the bottom of the screen that shows the location of each enemy. I guess we can't see it on the boss, but it's very useful because sometimes you'll be, you know, your character will be at the bottom of the screen, and you'll need to know where an enemy is, and, you know, you don't want to glance all the way up at the top of the screen. So that is really useful. Frickin'. I don't know why I keep using the bomb button instead of the sub-weapon button. B is always bomb, so... Also, collecting those coins gives you both money and score. There was like, oh yeah, the window for counter bombing can be pretty tight. I think it's tighter if you have more bombs than health. This was a pretty sloppy boss fight, and I can only partially blame Parker on that. Matt is a bit better for this. See, there we go. We got a health up. I think we saw one of those before. But yeah, if you do a perfect wave after taking damage, damn it, you get your heart back. But if you keep taking damage, like if you take damage in 2 consecutive things, you won't get a heart. You gotta actually do the perfect wave. So there's only so much leniency in it. And I like that it sort of teaches you to play the game right. Like, right as in what will give you the best score. I kind of like those little bullet mazes. You just got to be real slow and careful, and exactly not like I'm being right now. Damn. Oh yeah, bonus level. So you can't get hit by the boss's final spray like that. It's just for show. If you get enough diamonds, you get bonus levels. I think it's every 3 diamonds. So like there's 10 normal waves, so you can get up to 3 bonus waves. The bonus waves are harder, but even if you die in the bonus waves, you still get to keep your progress. Like, you still beat the level. They're just extra and extra hard. So, it's yet another one of those things where if you do well, the game gets harder and gives you more score. But if you do poorly, you can still beat the game and, you know, don't embarrass yourself too hard. See, that is the end of the forest world. We'll go ahead and call it a video there, and we'll show you... We'll go world by world for this. The game's not out of beta yet. I'm not 100% sure when it's out of beta, and it's also going to be on Steam. I think he said a few weeks after. But you can play Bullet Heaven 1 now. That is still free on Congregate, as always. And Newgrounds, if that's your poison. You can also get the soundtrack, I believe. Said the ads won't be in the Steam version either. Yeah, you can get the soundtrack as usual. Firana did the soundtrack as always, and she did a great job as always. So yeah, you can check that out immediately. Actually, is that up? If that's up, I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description. You should be able to hopefully get that even without the game being out quite yet. Oh yeah. You can pre-order it on Bandcamp. Physical CDs coming soon. Alright, that is Bullet Heaven 2 World 1. Stay tuned for all of the other worlds.